How's it going, everyone? Kind of a short and late start today. I guess it wasn't really that short, but it's a late start today. We're gonna get started with some corruptions for Harry Potter Quidditch World Cup, which I hope corrupts well. It didn't do too well during the preliminary testing, and I got a couple on the stockpile, but I didn't get too much time to test it in general, and I was starting to run late, and I was thinking it's already 10 o'clock here, it's getting a little late, so I should probably throw the stream up. So this might end up being a kind of short half-an-hour stream to show off what I got during the preliminary, or it might be a longer, maybe 45 minutes to an hour corruption stream. It all depends on how well it does in action, I guess. We'll get started with that in just a moment here. I just gotta get some water and we'll get started. Oh no, I cut the music. Oh no, where were we? Wait, how long have we been live for? 5 minutes. We're gonna skip it ahead a little bit. We were around there. Sorry about that. Accidentally closed up the tab. We're getting a lot of kind of like nice transparent ones, which I usually like to keep those transparent ones, but at least the way that these ones are being created, it looks like it's difficult to save in the sense that it's a culmination of a bunch of save states put together, a bunch of blast layers put together. So they're not going to be possible to save. Let's mess with our... Going a little too fast. Let's mess with our starting address a little bit. Let's bring that a little bit closer to 0. Then another try. Which it does seem like we're crashing a little bit more often, because we're corrupting, I guess, more system functions, if you will. That one kind of looks nice. It looks like all the grass textures are spread out, either a really low resolution or a really high one. Some of these are a little jarring. Even though this is jarring, I'm going to mute stream audio and take off my headphone, because you can kind of see the goalposts. Well, I don't even know what those are, those like stands. They have an interesting look to them, so I want to try to keep that. There we have just scaffolding. Don't want to keep that though. Oh, and the audio's back to normal. Don't have to worry about that anymore. I'd like to get the giant brown box off the screen, if we can. Although I imagine that's the title screen itself. It looks like it is. The logo. So within the Blast editor, we see all the save states that we're creating. We see all the memory rights that we have on the current save state or on the current Blast layer. And we're slowly disabling some of these because they're unnecessary to the corruption that we have on screen. For example, right now only these 5 are selected, and we still see the corruption we want on screen with all the colors and stuff like that. That means all the ones that are deselected, these ones without the little X's next to them, we don't need those. So we can actually just remove them from the stockpile, and you can see that if we load the corruption, it still works perfectly alright. Ooh. Hey, thank you for the hosts, SNES girl. I can't say your name without thinking about Jub singing your name, the SNES girl. Which my toning is so off. But what's going on? Thank you for the host. Hopefully we get some good corruptions out of this. I'm on the board, or on the fence about whether we might get anything good from it. I did a little bit of preliminary testing, which we got some horrifying corruptions, which we'll get to in a couple moments, but so far we've been subpar. This one, for example, I might want to keep though, so we'll call it Colorful Stands. And I'm going to try to re-roll this to see if we get different effects out of it. We're back to normal. No, mostly just the same one. It's either it's colored this kind of odd way, or not colored at all. Well, let's move on from the title screen. So I'm going to clear out my stash history and go progress a little bit further. Clean save state, start game, and we're just going to do a basic Hogwarts championship team selecting thing.
Now that you're here, you can choose which of the 4
But we're going to corrupt Harry, so
you can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to take.
Let's do it straight from here.
Cup. Gryffindor, Ravenclaw,
and this is where stuff starts getting interesting because, oh my god, because you get model corruptions. And you get stuff like that. I didn't expect to get something that good off the bat. That's his face and his teeth and... oh my god. I don't know, Harry got, I was gonna pull up a window so I could take a screenshot, but the stuff's still going on in the background. He got, like, covered in mud or something. God. Okay, got that as a screenshot. I forgot to have my screenshot tool, like, ready to pull this up. There we go. Let's keep this. We gotta sanitize it a bit. That's even worse. Why is his face over there? In the other half of this,
You can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to take through to the Quidditch Cup.
I don't know which one I want to save. There's so many things that are wrong with this.
Once you've chosen a team, you can guide them through a
His audio's a little messed up too. Let's send this to stash. We'll sanitize this part later, where he's kind of tweaking out and the camera's messed up.
Gryffindor.
But we'll work on this half right now with like the weird blitting.
You can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like.
It's got some menacing shadows on him. Ah, and this is the one I actually saw before stream, so this is the one I actually wanted to take care of, or that I actually used when I posted to the Filthy Casuals when I was going live, is look at this guy's fingers. Look at those fingers. That is horrifying. If you have like tribophobia or something like that, just don't look at his hands. There's also no audio, so you just kind of sit in there. And now we go over to the captain, I forget his name. So I actually already have that on the stockpile, so we won't worry about that one yet. I call that one motion sickness. But let's try to see if we can get that other half.
You can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like. You can choose which of the 4 house teams.
Which I can't really tell
Which of the 4 house teams. You can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to take.
what we're looking for here.
Choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like. You can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like.
I guess if he's
You can choose which
disappearing?
of the 4
No.
house teams you'd like.
How about...
You can choose which of the
Let's
4
work on this
house
one.
teams you'd like to take through to the.
Just recreated the sun right there.
You can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to take through to. You can choose which of the 4 house teams.
In case you're wondering, you can take...
You can choose which of the
You can
4
choose
house
which of the 4 house
teams
teams.
through to the Quidditch Cup.
In a couple minutes, I'll memorize that.
You can choose which of the 4 house. You can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to take.
It's kind of like we...
You can choose which
It
of
looks
the 4
good,
house
really,
teams
at
you'd like
the top,
to take to the Quidditch Cup.
when it's just kind of all
Choose which of the
messed
4
up and
house-
janky. But once we try sanitizing and narrowing something down, it kind of looks not so good. Which is too bad. It's also a combination of these two within our stash history. Let's combine those together. Also, is he smiling? He looks like he's smiling. Well, at least he's happy. We'll call it Smiling Harry. So when we combine those two together, it actually works alright. Those are the audience members. That Harry's like sneaking on out of. I'm gonna take a photo of that as well. So I think I should also mention, this is one of the games I used to love as a kid. So that's why we're corrupting it today. I'm not finding a good way to sanitize it. I think I need to double load all of these whenever I sanitize it. Because it's a little crashy. And that's why I thought the stream might not go too well, is it was half crashing a lot, and I had to mess with our limiter list and our value list a bit for the vector engine. And with like a smaller limiter list, we ran into less crashes, which is good. Oh, we turned on the subtitles. That's weird. Unless they're always there. And the value list I'm kind of playing around with to get good results on, but... Okay, well there's his face. As long as we can get this corruption, I'll be happy. Jesus.
You can choose which of the 4 house. You can choose which of the. You can choose which of the 4. You can choose which of the 4 house.
I don't think we can save it. It's what do you call it? Inherent of the crash that creates this effect. So, in order for his face to be melted away, it has to crash. And saving corruption, where it's like undefined behavior almost, where you just can't really find the corruption that you need because it's always crashing, and you have to get a specific crash, which is a little tricky. I'm using my hands, but you can't see them. Put this down. I use my hands a lot. Anyway, so we're gonna move on, sadly. But we do have just the cursed corruption, which is just what I'm gonna call it, called
Can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd
Oh, that's right! We got colorful sands. I forgot about that. So we actually got a color corruption out of this too.
or Slytherin.
That's kind of cool. I like that.
Chosen is
Anyway, so for Smiling Harry, not even that looks good, because sometimes it looks good and sometimes it doesn't. It's based on whatever corruption is preloaded into it already, and then you pull in the new existing ones, so you have to combine them together, which doesn't always work the best. Unless we can find one that does work well with it. I think I'm gonna move on from it. It was definitely a nice one, though. What the fuck did you do? I did something real bad. I mean, that's just Smiling Harry. Motion sickness in general.
4 house teams you'd like. Can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to take through to the.
It's kind of horrifying. Look at his hands, his fingers.
Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, or Slytherin.
It's so bad.
Once you've chosen a team, you can guide them through a series of house challenges.
I'm sorry,
If
Harry.
you're successful in these challenges, then your team should have enough skills to compete in the Hogwarts Quidditch.
Anyways, let's move on. Let's do a brand new, fresh corruption from the top. So many pingwars. Oh, you can kind of see him in there. Do you see his face? Like a really creepy version of Where's Waldo. Here, let's stick that photo. Put that right there.
Can choose which.
Got like an upside down Harry there for a sec.
Can choose.
Ah, he's back to normal. I like whenever we get that one because it's melted face, it always crashes, and then it's gone, and we can't save it. It just pops up every once in a while. Woo, scared me. Thank you for the follow. I'm following already, this is fucking great. Hey, I appreciate it. This is what we normally do on stream. We corrupt video games live, either anything from like NES up to GameCube. I'd like to start some Xbox corruptions, but it's a little tricky. Oh, this one's like... Oh, it disappears, sadly. I can't tell what that is. It's like some futuristic lines all across.
Can choose which.
Some bad crashes. Now with this one, we get like 2 corruptions in one. We get like a vibrating Harry and like an artistic depiction of Harry's lower half. What's the best corruption I've ever done? That's a tricky one. It depends. I guess it would depend on what game. The best game I've ever corrupted is Lara Croft Legends, which is the only stream that is not available on YouTube or Twitch because my mic broke during it. Or it kind of broke. The software I was using broke. So that is the only like archived one, which I still have the video, it's just it sounds awful because the mic broke halfway through. But that corrupted super well. Next to that is, oh, Finding Nemo. There's a great corruption in there that I loved. Every time, what was the father in Finding Nemo? I forget his name. Finding Nemo father's name, Marlin. Every time Marlin talked, he got like a little bit bigger, and he just had like really Italian, like big expressions. Oh, that sounded terrible. Anyways, he was just very expressive in his sentences, and he talked for like a good 2 minutes. I lost it during that stream. That was a good one. I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah, we had a couple good ones here and there. I create stockpiles, so I try to throw them together. And I can't think if I had a favorite from like my 2018 stockpile. I should like nominate one though. That'd be kind of fun. Anyways, let's keep this one. So we gotta figure out, do we want to keep Shaky Harry? Actually, we already got a copy of Shaky Harry. So let's try to get like the Van Gogh Harry. Oh, it sounds so bad. Ah! I want to give you a shout out on my Discord. This is the most unique stream I've ever seen. Thank you, I appreciate that. It sounds so bad. Sometimes we get awful audio corruptions like that, so forewarning, and if you're sensitive to like flashing lights, watch out for that as well. But thank you, I appreciate it. I like Vibrating Harry, but we got that already, so we got Harry Grows. And you get a little bit of audio too. Okay, let's do a fresh load. There we go. He just sounds a little messed up, a little Mr. Roboto there. But I didn't sanitize this one. Let's actually sanitize it and reload it to get a different effect out of it.
teams. You can choose which of the four house teams.
Harry's stuck on that Mandrake root formula. Are you able to play with corruptions? Oh yeah, absolutely. So what I do is I create stockpiles of corruptions, so we get all these kind of funny effects, like, you know, as a real basic example, like big heads and missing bodies and stuff like that. And I put that into a stockpile, and if someone wants to play that stockpile, they can DM me, or I used to post them on YouTube, but then it's like a lot of work to post them. So if you're ever interested in playing with these corruptions, DM me, and I can kind of walk you through the process. Essentially, you just need this program called the Windows Glitch Harvester. You load in the stockpile, or actually, the real-time corruptor, because it's for all systems. Load in the stockpile, and you can play with them at any point. All you have to do is click on it, and it will load it into your current game, as long as you have your own copy. Yeah, and if you're ever interested in checking out like more about corruptions and the process of doing them or making them, there is a website that is like the one-stop shop for it that I suggest. Corrupt.wiki, which is run by, I think, the Vinesauce community, or at least a member of the Vinesauce community. They do an awesome job at updating that. I contribute here and there when I can. Yeah, it's a good resource. So we almost got this one all sanitized. We just got rid of the audio, which is nice. He doesn't have that messed up audio. We have a much better corruption for that as well. Okay, we have single memory right? I'm going to throw it on the stash. Throw it on the stockpile. We'll call it Harry has the shakes.
Once you've chosen a team, you can guide them through a series of...
That's wonderful. I'll most likely look around for corrupted time splitters. I haven't corrupted time splitters. That would be a fun one to check out. I haven't even seen that one yet, actually. I have a file of games I'm interested in checking out to corrupt. I'm going to put that one on there. Time splitters.
No. Quidditch is easy enough.
And I'm going to put your name there, too. Orbital Shenanigans. I like your name, too.
3 of them are called chasers.
Shenanigans. Cool.
This ball's
oh my god, he shakes too, but his head sometimes pauses and is his body.
to score a goal. 10 points every time the quaffle goes through one of the hoops. No.
We're gonna remove Harry Grows. So now we can reroll this corruption and see if we get different effects out of rerolling it. To put it in layman's terms, if we open this item within our blast editor, we get to see exactly how we're writing the corruption into the game. Essentially, it's saying it's targeting Dolphin at this source address, 995183, which is just a location in memory, and it's setting a value there, so it's writing a couple bits over to that location, 4, 5, followed by a bunch of zeros. And that's what creates the kind of Harry freaking out on screen. And you might wonder, what happens if we send something else? Like, instead of 4, 5 and a bunch of zeros, what if we send like 4, 6 and a bunch of zeros? Who knows? So we'll figure out by re-rolling it. You know it's bad when you've seen even worse glitches in non-corrupted Oblivion. Yeah, I was thinking, like, I would like to do an Oblivion corruption stream or Skyrim. Probably Oblivion, because that'd be a lot funner. But you really don't need to, you just gotta play it. They're already pretty persistent anyway.
I have to fly around our hoops and stop the other team.
Which one? Is that actually... Did I say that without any paying attention? Oh, 4, 5. So sadly, with the vector engine, which is the special corruption engine we're using, we can't specify our values, and I wish we could. We can use that with the nightmare engine, where we can actually write whatever value we want to. It does that to prevent the user, myself, from breaking it. I should know better, but... Anyway, so we have to use the special reroll button from a preset value list, which are a bunch of values that say these are safe to put on a GameCube. If you put like a bunch of Fs, a GameCube, if it read that in, it would just crash itself. So we can't do that value, for example. So we have a predetermined pool of entries to pull from, and it's a very large list. I think it's a very large list. I haven't actually seen it, but that way we can just kind of take a look at this new one. That's still 4, 5, bunch of zeros. This one's C3, bunch of zeros. And this one he's actually not shaking, so you do get different effects. Sometimes, maybe not with this one, but with like big head ones, or I don't know, if his foot was in another location, you could change where it was splitting on the screen. I'm doing this on an emulator. I would love to do hardware corruptions, but I'm in college, so I can't really bring hardware, sadly. Even though hardware corruptions are awesome. So I'm using an emulator. It's a modified version of Dolphin, It's called an Ares mod, which is bundled with the real-time corruptor.
No.
But yeah, all emulation, sadly.
The four house teams can choose.
However, hardware corruptions are awesome.
Can choose
I think if I started with those, I would want to go to
take through to the Quidditch Cup.
probably Game Boy corruptions to start off on, because those are a lot easier. You can actually get in at the hardware.
Once you've chosen a
Either
team, you can guide them through a series of house challenges.
the
Successful
what do you
in
call those? I want to say cassette, but that's not the name of
have
them.
enough space to beat them.
The game itself, the cartridge, not cassette. The cartridge itself, or the actual hardware on the Game Boy.
Right.
Anyways, do we want to do anything else with this? Harry has the shakes. When we're re-rolling it, we're really not getting anything else out of it, so we can just put he has the shakes. Maybe we can work something out with it in terms of mixing it with something else. If you corrupt a physical copy and give it to someone else who will still be corrupted on their GameCube, absolutely. If you say I wanted to put this corruption onto a game, and then I don't actually know the formatting for putting it onto a disc, but if I flashed it to a GameCube disc that's readable without any issue, totally, I can give it to someone, they can play it, and it would be like a corrupted copy of a game. I'm sure, I mean, you could do some, what is it? Ben is Dead? What's that one? Ben is... Drowned Ben? It's that creepypasta one for... Ben Drowned. That's the one. You can do something like that. You just make creepy discs and give them to people. Like, this would horrify me if I saw this. I'm trying to learn about Quidditch. I don't need some guy with purple eyes and, like, demon look to him with pink armor to explain it to me. And I'm re-rolling this one. I don't think we can get any other colors out of this one. I also don't know why the colors we're getting are these colors in the first place. It's such an odd mixture of colors. We're going to sanitize a couple of the other ones that I got during my preliminary testing before we make some brand new ones. The first one of which was Tin Can Audio. Aces of Quidditch. You watch this. If you hear this one, it kind of sounds like you're, like, you know those little tin cans with the little wire in between, and kind of hear them? This reminds me of that. So I'm going to sanitize this one. It also kind of sounds like you're, like, pulling up a bunch of duct tape stuck to a surface. Makes that little sound. Slowly... I should explain this too. This is the blast layer, so we have all the memory rights that are here. A lot of these memory rights aren't necessary to the actual corruption, like we can still hear the audio, even though a bunch of these are unselected. So what we're really doing is we're just like trimming the fat, removing the unnecessary memory rights that might crash the game later on, and we're just narrowing it down to one singular corruption or one singular like aspect that we can throw into our stockpile.
Quidditch is easy enough to understand.
It does kind of sound like, yeah, duct tape, anything like that, scotch tape, whatever you want to call it. Maybe we'll call it that. Would it crash if you straight up delete one of those? See, that's the tricky thing. Deleting, like, what is deleting in the end? Are you writing a bunch of zeros to that location? Because if it was Windows, deleting is removing any pointers to that location and letting a garbage collector take care of it. If it's like a game I wrote, I would probably write a bunch of zeros or release a pointer in this case. So it depends what deleting means. We could force or make a fake delete by saying, hey, at this location, let's write a bunch of zeros to remove whatever is there. I wonder what would happen. We could actually do that. I'm curious what would happen. So let's just check as an example. So I have to write down the source address. It's going to be, do on Notepad. 103.17895. Yeah, I'm going to have that here for a sec. Here's our perfect sanitized corruption. I'm going to put that in the stockpile and call it, let's call it duct tape. Duct tape. Audio. And remove tin can audio. This is now the perfect version, if you will. And now we're going to switch engines, which you can't see in the background, but I'm going to switch to the Nightmare engine, and I'm just going to do an intensity of 1. And we'll blast the target.
4 house teams you'd like to
And now you can open up the blast editor and we get kind of a different view of what we had before.
Hufflepuff.
I'm going to remove everything but one.
Once you've chosen a team, you can guide
And on this
them
one, I'm going to specifically write to a location.
and if you're successful in these
That
challenges,
location is the one we predetermined from before, 103.17895. And when we corrupt here, we get that scotch tape audio.
you can win it.
Now let's see what happens when we write different values. Now, deleting that value would actually just be writing a bunch of zeros. Actually, I think just 1 0 would do it.
No. Quidditch is easy enough.
So let's see. We're going to corrupt it.
You can choose which of the 4 house
And it still
teams
sounds
you'd like to
normal.
take through to the Quidditch Cup.
So you might not know what's there.
Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, or Slytherin.
I wonder what is there then.
Once you've chosen a team, you can guide them through a series of
Another way of deleting is a bunch of Fs, which is a max value. In the Nightmare Engine, you can't write a max value of F, so instead we can just do a bunch of 9s.
Who knows? You might even win it.
Let's give that a go. Ah! And in this case, you heard no audio. Huh. Don't know what's going on there. So let's write maybe half. So let's go like... whatever that value would be.
Choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to take
And let's go lower than that, because that's very loud in my ears.
the 4 house teams you'd like to take through to the Quidditch
So it's maybe something to do with like pitching. Maybe it's like some instrument pitcher that changes the pitch of the audio that's coming through it. Maybe it's receiving the audio and it's adjusting the pitch so it's like equal or something like that. And we're corrupting how that pitch is changed. As an example, I have no clue. And I imagine we wouldn't know until we actually like decompiled the game and looked at the function at that location and saw what it actually did. That's just a guess on my part. But it's kind of cool to see that nonetheless, and know that we can edit the values.
There are 7 players.
And that's why we rely on randomness a lot, because this is just a random source address. How far is that?
The quaffle. The
103 million? No.
quaffle to each other and try to get it through one of the hoops to
1,317,000, whatever the number is. So far into memory that you would never even guess what's there. And we wrote a random value to get scotch tape.
I'm keeper for Gryffindor.
Or duct tape. So it's kind of cool to see stuff like that. That's a more technical aspect though. In the end, we just get some horrifying corruptions. So we get that one. We got motion sickness. We have those two mixed together, which might sound very bad. I have a limiter on the stream, so it doesn't sound too bad for you guys, but there's Demon, those two mixed together. We got colorful stands, and Harry has the shakes. So we've got a good amount so far. Let's go from the top. Let's make a brand new corruption from the start, and let's see what we can get. What am I doing wrong? Oh, my intensity is super low. So we're gonna have a fairly high intensity. The intensity controls how many memory writes that we have on the blast layer. And the starting address actually says where in the ROM or the game itself we'd like to begin corrupting. So we're gonna go kind of towards the beginning. You're crying? This is like your humor? Hey, that's great! If you would like a lot more corruption content, I would suggest Vine Sauce. Vinny does his own corruptions, but he has people submit him stockpiles. That's where my stockpiles go. They go to Vinny and he shows them off on his channel. He has a lot of content. Let me know if you want a link to that. But I like creating them, and I like seeing them being created, because you never get to see them created. You just see the end results. Oh, and we got our first hard crash of the evening, so you might hear some breaking plates. There it is, super quiet. If we get a hard crash, it actually broke the emulator, so we have to do a hard reset on that. But luckily for us, we can have save states, so we could just go right back into corrupting, even though these are all crashes. God, let me use a extended minus value list. That's a little bit better. We exploded his head. Our intensity is like super high. We're like corrupting the entire thing. Or just a huge portion of it. It's like taking a chunk out of the disc. Okay, that's a little bit better. Now it actually runs. Just barely. I like his cape just going off in a direction. The wind is just too high. Poor Harry. There's no audio either. I kinda wanna save this one. Just the high winds. Beware. It's fluttering. Let's keep that. So what I like to do, if we get a game that corrupts well, is we'll get a bunch of these small corruptions. Like this one's kind of small, it's just his cape freaking out in the background. Maybe itself isn't that funny, I find it pretty funny. But what we can do is we can take a bunch of like 5 or 6 of these kind of small ones and put them together to create like a more interesting kind of hybrid corruption. And that's what I've been doing a lot more lately, if I get a game that corrupts well. Like Luigi's Mansion or Wind Waker, stuff like that. Voice is starting to go up. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do with this one in just a moment, once we get it.
Choose which of the 4 house teams you would like.
Wind Waker is hilarious, and I promised another streamer that I would do Wind Waker again because he just started to play through, and he's like, I gotta see you corrupt it. Sky Coaster, man. Awesome guy as well. He does the retro community stuff. And I told him, yeah, I was like, I streamed it once before, it was kind of long ago, I was still kind of new to corrupting, so I wasn't really sure what I was doing. Now though, we can really corrupt the hell out of it, so I'd like to give that a go. Did I mess up? I messed up. Shoot. I gotta go back. I think I accidentally deleted the one we were looking for. You can also see the Blast Layer slides at the top right if you're interested in that, to see how many more entries I need to go through. We got 24 memory rights, 12 memory rights, 6, 3, slowly but surely we get there. I got an emulator once for, oh, it's kind of cut off my screen, for Wind Waker, and it looks completely normal, but when I get control of Link, only his eyes moved. That's kind of like a horrifying nightmare, I imagine. Like, only your eyes can move and you're stuck in this world. That's odd though. I would imagine if you use Dolphin Emulator, you might have had to set up the controller, because I know it doesn't do it by default. And there is no good guide out there to set up your controller for Dolphin, sadly. And it's kind of something you just kind of have to learn, like the 3 in the deep end with it. And I think Wasabi Tonic, who's a fellow streamer on my stream team, he showed me the first time to do it because I had absolutely no clue and I was brand new to emulating. Otherwise, yeah, it took me a while to get used to it. And now, like, every time I had to set up my controller, I just let out a big sigh because I hate doing it every time. I always keeps freaking out too. So we got Cape Freakout. That's what we're gonna call this. Super easy. Let's reroll it to see if we get his cape to freak out anymore. I don't think so. No, nothing there. Alright, from the top. His lips a little messed up. You're trying to use a controller with it? Yeah, and I think by default it makes you use a keyboard, unless you set up the controller. And then you also gotta make sure the computer recognizes the controller and you got all that fun stuff. A lot of stuff. You collect physical games, so it's very rare you emulate. Props to you for collecting physical games. I mean, that's... Chibi Robo. Wait, the only one I got to work was Chibi Robo. In terms of emulation or the physical game? I loved Chibi Robo. That was one of my favorite games as a kid. We created a bunch of save states to corrupt it on stream, but we didn't get a chance to corrupt it, and now those save states are at my other house in California. So now it's over there. I get to get those at some point. Which we might just corrupt it. Just from the beginning, like, right after you finish the birthday party. Ooh, look at this corruption. Those colors. That's cool though. And I'm glad you got it working because that's a fun game. Hopefully you get more games working if possible. Harry's eyes. Wait, was that in the colorful one? Wait, let's go back. Was it this one? Also, I didn't realize when his eyes are all broken like that, they're like attached to his glasses. I want this one. I want this color one. I don't know how we're gonna get it. Yes. Well, just for you, we'll do this. If I can get it. We'll take a screenshot and we'll just put it at the top left. Just so you can take a good look at those eyes. You could almost fall into them, I swear. You literally could. It's a hole in his head. You could probably fall into his eyes. Okay, where's our color trip? Is it this one? Okay, it's this one. We gotta double load this one because it's leading to a crash. Hopefully we can keep it though. Also, I apologize about the audio. That's gonna sound terrible for the next couple minutes. Until we finally get it. If your girl doesn't have those eyes, she's a 1. I mean, you're not wrong. If you have a goals list, that should be at the top of that list. 49 memory rights. This one's hard to save. It's kind of like evading us. And I think it is the result of a crash, which is unfortunate because we can't get a game running if it is the result of a crash. In this case, we'll keep it because it's an interesting visual bug, but it's not one that I could hand to someone and say, hey, check this out on your stream, it's kind of cool. They would be like, hey man, it crashed after 2 seconds, it's no fun to play. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But I like visual ones, so we're gonna keep it. We just can't put it in a final stockpile. There it is! And it runs! Hey! That's awesome! Oh, now it's gonna take forever to get it just right. So we're just gonna keep randomly juggling these together. Because one of these creates this effect, and we can't be sure which one it is. It's gonna be 2 memory bytes, so this is a hybrid corruption. You'll see this bottom one, if we load this one, no effect. If we load the top one, and not the bottom one, no effect. But if for some reason we corrupt them together, and they're very similar in memory locations, like they're only about a byte off, less than a byte off, and we send the same value, we get an LSD trip. Harry is he who watches. I'm happy with this one. This is a good one. We'll call it Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. If I can spell diamonds right. And now we can try re-rolling it. I don't think this will be a safe one to re-roll. Oh, but it is! Oh, but it is! What are his eyes? They look like beetles. He looks like a puppet, actually. Oh, I love it. I'm gonna put that at the top left. What is this? Honestly, he even has the line like where he would be stitched together. That is horrifying. Yeah, like RuneScape 3 character. They didn't have stuff that bad in 2007. Also, his eyes, have you ever played like Gary's Mod or like any of the Source Engine? It looks like the missing texture icon. Or a snake. Wow, alright.
No, there's another player on each side who's called the keeper.
What do we call it? What do we call it?
Timekeeper for Gryffindor.
RuneScape. You do the RuneScape thing.
Fly around our hoops and stop the other team from scoring.
Puppet, snake. I'm bad at naming sometimes, so I always appreciate the naming. I think I'm gonna go with the RuneScape one. That was a good one. RuneScape 3.5. You got an even more advanced level. Oh wait, I want to take a screenshot. So I'm also, as I'm going along, I'm taking a screenshot and I'm putting these items in my Discord. I put all my, I guess, preliminary research and all my interesting corruptions into a corruption category in that Discord, if you're interested. I also have a link there. Discord, if you're interested. I know everyone has a Discord, so don't worry about it. I'm not pushing you to do it or anything like that. But it's if you're curious. I remember Quidditch was an actual sport in my high school. That's kind of cool. Until everyone got bullied. Oh, that's sad. Why you gotta pick on what people like? That's so terrible. We had one, I think they have one at the university here. I think. They don't have a club for it. And it was like a local sport, but not a high school sport or anything like that. It wasn't like affiliated with the school. It was kind of cool though. I never participated, but I always worked. But cool nonetheless.
And stop the other team from scoring. Stand back.
Anyways, this is a good one. Let's keep re-rolling this. We might get some more good results out of it. There's the LSD one. You joined the Discord? Awesome! Welcome to Oddbrew. Thank you for the join. I don't run it myself. I run it along with 4 other buddies. It's called Oddbrew. If you are curious, there's like Wasabi Tonic is the guy who streams a lot along with me. And there's 2 other members. Mr. Falco are not good. They don't stream too often. They're starting to get started. slowly. I'm the only one who does corruptions. Wasabi Donic does like Mario Kart and 1 hour, 1 life. We're all a good, friendly crowd. And we all post there regularly. Let's see if there's anything else with this one. I have my fingers crossed. Ooh, this one we get like a nice sky effect. That kind of looks like those, is it 70s? Like the old, maybe it's 80s? They play 1 hour, 1 life. It is highly addicting. Yeah, check him out. He's usually pretty high in the 1 hour, 1 life category. He's hilarious, so I highly recommend anything he does. And that's, I think, his main game at the moment. He plays that almost every day for a couple hours, followed by something like Mario Kart or something of that nature. I've been doing Let's Plays for the Oddworld series at the moment. I also play Dwarf Fortress when I can. I haven't done that in a stream in a long time, but I'd like to. And a couple other RPG-esque games. I like this one, except the sky isn't completely covered. So let's move on. Vaporwave, that's the thing I was looking for. But it was like kind of like the 80s style, I guess. I don't know what the name of that was though. Let's go with Vaporwave. That's a good one. If we were using the real-time corruptor, I would put like your name in each one of these. I would say name credited from Orbital Shenanigans. But we can't put it on the Windows Glitch Harvester, sadly. It's only GameCube corruption, so we can't do that. We'll do, how about... no, aesthetic's not good enough. How about like Aesthetic World? That's not bad. I like that. And can we get anything else? I'm hoping on like more model corruptions, because we got that puppet one, which is just insanely strange of anything. We're gonna kind of quickly, just because we're getting visuals. Got like a cyan sky. Oh, I can hear my PC chugging too. My compressor is probably trying to fight me for white noise distilling. But I'm not seeing anything else. This one's not bad, because it's not like a completely shadowed out face. Like that one. Let's keep this one. I don't know what you would call him though. He kind of has like a greenish face. Green like blush.
And if you're successful in
Oh,
these challenges, then your team should have
Harry
skills to
Porter.
compete in the Hogwarts Quidditch Cup.
And let's start with a brand new corruption, so straight from the top. Clearing out our history. And let's see what else we can get. Also, his captain looks evil. You'll have nightmares? There's a couple nightmare-inducing ones for sure. The Lara Croft ones induce nightmares in me. And they still do to this day. Also, the other Harry Potter game did too. We did Harry Potter for the Sorcerer's Stone, which was also a very good corrupting game. And there are some horrifying corruptions in that one. Like, we were in the intro where you have Fred and George like hanging out on the fence or whatever, and their heads, we had their heads grow to like a huge size, and then you could see through their face, so you could see like their jaws and their like teeth and their eye sockets. It was just horrifying. Yeah, did you see his eyebrow go off in a direction? I was looking for that one. I like went back for a couple of these corruptions. I was hoping I could find it. I'm sorry, what was that? Wait a minute, wait a minute. Wait. You stay. I want to see that one. So what we're doing here is we're injecting previous blast layers with other blast layers, and we're kind of like mixing the effects together, which is kind of strange, but we're getting interesting results. I want to get that one right there, which I keep accidentally running over. I don't know what combination it is. There's this eyebrow guy. There it is. That's the face I want. Very happy with that. He even look like. Alright, moving on. I'm just gonna leave that up there. Have you done Fable? No, I haven't done Fable. I've never even played Fable, which sounds really bad, and I know I should have. I had friends who were into Fable too. I don't know why I just never played it. I would always see them play it at like their houses, and I would be like hanging out, but I would never play it myself. I would just watch them. That'd be a fun game to do, though. Do you have any? Well, let's see. So was the original Fable? It was Xbox 360 and PC. I'm seeing. Because the only trouble with that, we can do PC. PC's a little tricky. We would have to use Cheat Engine for it. I know I've never played Fable. Can you believe it? I know I've seen plenty of it. But yeah, never played it by myself. Which maybe I can do that on stream. That's a good one. I like RPGs. So PC corruptions, we can use the cheat engine for that, which is possible. But the problem with that is we don't have save states available to us. So every time we want to reload the corruption, we have to get back to the same point in the game. And a lot of the time, we're also going to crash the game. So we have to go all the way back to that point where we were in the game, corrupt it again, lead for the crash, restart the game, and it's like a whole long process. I've got pretty good at launching it and like being able to get in the habit of that. That's a little tricky. You can't buy it. Don't worry about that. But the alternatives are we have Xbox. So Xbox is doable. And 360 is also kind of doable if we were doing that version. The tricky thing with Xbox is we have to use an emulator called CXBX Reloaded. So there is an Xbox emulator. However, it's very kind of finicky, and it likes some games and it really doesn't like others. I've been trying to get Jet Set Radio to work for it for a very long time, and you can almost play it to completion, but there's a couple audio bugs that you hear. Once that's all fixed up, I'd like to begin corrupting in it. We'll see if it's possible. So that's probably how I'd like to go about Fable. I'd have to try it out, and I'll make a day out of it if I'm interested in corrupting it. For 2, 3, those would both be on 360. Well, 3 I could do PC. Yeah, I'll look into it. It's an interesting one. I'd have to play it first, I imagine, and then really get a feel for it before I begin corrupting it. I've done plenty of games where I've never played them before, and I corrupted it, and I'm like, is this supposed to happen? Is this part of the game, or is it just kind of something wacky happening with the corruptions? Which, Earthbound, that happened a lot in Earthbound. I finally played Earthbound after I corrupted it. I played Mother 1 and 2 originally, and then I corrupted Earthbound itself, so I wasn't sure correlations. I have actually played Harry Potter, yes. I played Quidditch tournament as a child. As a child, that sounds weird. I played it as a kid. I think early teens. Ooh. I'll get another follow! Thank you, Regular Guy Show. Appreciate the follow, man. I've also played Sorcerer's Stone on stream. Yeah, Sorcerer's Stone on stream, which is a lot of fun as well. Oh, the audio. There's a good one.
Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff.
He looks like he's wearing like a really awesome armor. Regular Guy Show! How you doing? Good for you to stop by. Ooh, something we haven't been doing, which we probably should do. Should we do it? Yes, we should. Because we got 2 new follows and I forgot to do this. He is made of wood. That's literally what he's made of. We're going to save that one for just a moment. So something that I do like, if you guys have ever heard of Algo Music, we're going to do this in the meantime while I pull up a couple other things. Algo Music is a text-to-MIDI converter where you can type in any kind of name or any kind of title and you can convert it to a MIDI song. And something I've been trying to get myself in the habit of is whenever I get a new follow is to just put their name into MIDI and show them their song. So let's do that. I mean, Orbital, I gotta spell shenanigans, right? That's gonna be so hard to spell. Here. Orbital shenanigans. Oh, I should also capture this window. Let me do that as well. Window capture. Actually, we're gonna have to copy this. I'm gonna switch over to my starter. Grab this. Because I have a frame for it. Put it into Dolphin. Dolphin corruptions. There we go. I'm trying to get faster at this, so that's probably why it's taking me a sec here. But here we go. This is Orbital Shenanigans song. Can't capture the window. Shoot. Ow. or another time. It just shows you a bunch of the instruments and what the actual title of the song is. We already know what the song is. Kinda sounds nice. It's got a nice beat to it. It's not kind of chaotic like all the other ones are. It looks like he has a broom texture and the broom is backwards. Oh, does it really? Let's pull that up. Oh, it wants to crash itself. It does sound like the Haunted Mansion song from Mario, the one with the, wait. The N64 version? Super Mario... Super Mario 64? Alright, let's go back. I want to go back to... this one. That sounded nice, didn't it? Yeah, N64, okay. And then, let's do a regular guy show. And you've got cases. We gotta use case sensitivity. This is regular guy show song. And you get the church organs. Every once in a while we get the church organs, and I'm usually pretty happy with that. This is very angelic. I copy and pasted one window. I don't know what window I copy and pasted. I think it was the alert box. I hope it was the alert box. Doesn't that sound nice? Very majestic. I like that too. Very good songs. At some point, I'd like to be able to just like capture 30-second snippets and like when someone shows up, I don't know, play the song, or if they want to like play their song, they can. That'd be kind of cool. Anyway, we're gonna pause that here. They don't have natural endings either, so they just keep going on and on. We could play that for half an hour if we wanted to, which is kind of nice. Now, let's sanitize the creepy Harry Potter wood, wood corruption. And then we can re-roll and get more horrifying stuff out of it. The Nimbus 2000 is kind of messed up. I think what you said, what did you say? It was kind of backwards? It does look backwards. Like, this is normal here. And we also got two corruptions going on. The background is kind of messed up as one corruption, and Harry's messed up as a second corruption. So we got two. Let's send one to the stash and we'll sanitize that one later. We'll work on this one for right now. Getting that background all fixed up. We got 50 memory rights. 25. 12. You can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to take for a spin around the block on your Nimbus 2000. Alright, there we go. Single memory right. Throw it to the stash. We'll call this one a wall corruption. Don't need an interesting name because we're gonna change it in just a sec. Let's get this one as well. That's never gonna get annoying, no matter how many times Harry says it. Another game I like to corrupt is Beyond Good and Evil. I keep meaning to do that. I tried it on my original Lenovo, which is a laptop that's over here that I'm using as my stream dashboard thing. And it would not run... Actually, even funnier story. So when I corrupted and played games on this old Lenovo, I figured out the smaller that I made the emulation window, the better it would run, as you expect. And I would make games just so small. It would be... I don't even think of something small enough. Like, it would be this size of me... Wait, let me make this full screen. Yeah. This wallet was the size of the actual window on my screen. And like, I would just have all my other streaming stuff over here, and I would play it on this really tiny little screen. And play the game like that. And I played a good, like, couple months worth of streaming on tiny little wallet of a screen at the bottom left. Oh, also wood! Looks horrifying. He has, like, a chest or something. I hear he's just trying to teach us about Quidditch, yet you torture his very fabric in multiverse reality. He didn't ask to be tortured. He just existed, and his existence alone deserves punishment? I don't know. I feel bad for the guy. But think about how many games he's played without being corrupted. Maybe he had his comeuppance. His corrupt-uptance. I can't even say it right.
Ravenclaw. Can choose which of the 4 house teams you can choose which of the 4
Corrupt
house teams you'd
Uptons.
like to take through to
How
the
do you
Quidditch
spell
Cup.
that?
Can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to take through to the Quidditch Cup.
I'm not an English major.
Ravenclaw. Hufflepuff. Can choose which of the 4 house teams.
He's had it good for too long. Exactly. He really has.
Gryffindor.
We'll call this
Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff,
Wood Harry.
or Slytherin. Once you've chosen a team, you
Wood
can
Harry.
guide them through it. Can choose
Combine
which
these two
of the 4 house
together,
teams
and we have a very
you
nice,
the 4 house teams you'd like to
traditional wooden Harry. Let's skip ahead. Sure, Wood looks alright. Yeah, he looks alright. Is his name Wood? I forget his name. I actually gotta hear it.
can choose Hufflepuff or Slytherin. Once you've chosen a team, you can guide them through a series of house challenges.
I know he says it, just keeps going over my
If you're
head.
successful in these challenges, then your team should have enough skills to compete in the Hogwarts Quidditch Cup. Who knows? You might even win it. Over to you, Wood.
Wood! His name is actually Wood! How fitting is that? That's what I thought it was, but then we had the Wood corruption, and now my names are all getting messed up.
Can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd
10
like to
points
take
for
through to
you
the
watches.
Gryffindor,
Watches.
Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, or Slytherin.
We're gonna call this traditional Wood.
Choosing a team, you can guide them- can choose
And we're gonna
which-
re-roll
can choose-
this one, which is the background corruption.
can choose which of the
So it looks like it's like kinda how the world is drawn, where it's being drawn, I guess on the y-axis?
Ravenclaw. Can
He's
choose
like,
which of the- can choose-
this one, you're actually in the ground,
teams you'd like
whereas
to
this
take
one, you're like in the
through.
sky.
Which of the 4 house teams you'd like to take through to the Quidditch Cup?
Have you seen the He Who Watches meme? I know I've seen it in passing, but I don't know it well enough to be able to like reference it. That's why I feel bad because I keep reading it. I'm like, I don't know what that
If you're
is.
successful in these challenges, then your team should have enough skills to compete in the Hogwarts Quidditch Cup.
SCP?
Who knows?
That's not what I'm
You
thinking
might
about.
even win it. Over to you, Wood.
Now I'm Googling it as if I can find it. Oh wait, no, that's not it. If you have a link, I will definitely take a link.
Is easy enough to understand.
I need to be informed on meme culture.
3 of them are called chasers.
Also, he's in the ground still. Oh, he rises out of the ground.
Ball's called the quaffle. Chasers throw the quaffle to each
I
other.
kinda wanna
and
keep
try
this
to
one.
get it through one of the hoops to score a goal.
We'll call this one ground. How does this one look like for the Wood Harry?
Can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to take through to the.
That one's not right. Oh, traditional Wood.
Can choose which of the. Can choose which of the 4 house teams
That's
you'd
not
like
right.
to take through to the Quidditch Cup. Gryffindor. Can choose. Can choose which of the. Can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like.
Oh,
to
that's the
take
wrong
through
one.
to the Quid-
That's why.
Choose- can
Supposed to
choose
be
which-
this one.
Can choose which of the 4 house
Ground.
teams you'd like to take through to the Quidditch
Oh, it's a
Cup.
YouTube link. I can't
Gryffindor,
watch YouTube right now.
Ravenclaw,
Well, I might be able to watch YouTube.
or Slytherin.
I don't know how much audio I have
Once
to
you've
listen
chosen
to.
a team, you can guide them through a series of house challenges. And if you're successful in these challenges,
That is so deep fried.
enough skills to
Oh,
compete in the
he
Hogwarts
watches.
Quidditch Cup. Who knows? You might even
Now I
win it.
understand.
Over to you, Wood.
Right.
That's so like deep fried.
Now, Quidditch is easy enough to
Also,
understand.
here's a new
There are
screenshot.
7 players on each side.
Put
3 of them are
this
called
at the
chasers.
top right.
This ball's called the quaffle. The chasers throw the quaffle to each other and
This
try
one's
to
called
get it through.
ground. Let's mix this with traditional wood.
Choose which of the 4.
Why does that not mix
Choose
well?
which of the 4
Oh, because it
house
has
teams
two
you'd like
memory
to
rights
take
on it.
through. Can choose which of the 4
This one
houses-
doesn't.
can
I'm gonna mix this
can
one
choose
with
which-
this one, and we
can
get
choose- can choose which of
There
the
we go,
4
that's what I'm
house
looking for.
teams you'd like- can choose which of the
This
4
one
house
is
teams you'd like to
traditional
take
wood.
through to the Quidditch Cup.
remove
Gryffindor. Can choose
ground
which of
and
the-
this one.
Can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to
There we go.
Can choose which of the 4.
Let's re-roll this. Ooh, got like a beta file almost. We'll call it
Gryffindor, Ravenclaw,
Fizzy Harry.
Hufflepuff, or Slytherin. Once you've chosen a team, you
Fizzy
can guide
Harry.
them through a series of can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to
Hey,
take through
Ghost.
to the Quidditch Cup. Can choose can choose which of the 4 house teams.
So it's how
you'd like
many
to take
times
through.
I guess the texture's being repeated?
Choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like to take through.
This has been amazing, but sadly I have to go to bed. Wish me luck with the Harry doesn't find me in the realms of nightmares. You know he's gonna find you. He has magic. I mean, of course he's gonna find you. I hope you're able to run fast enough from... I mean, actually, that picture right there, I don't have to worry about it. Just look at the screen. I hope you can run fast enough. Or get on like a broomstick and fly away, as long as it isn't facing backwards or something. Anyways, fuck, you're right. Thank you for the follow and hanging out and the shout out in the Discord and all that kind of stuff. That's awesome. I appreciate you. And have a good night. Thanks for stopping by.
The quaffle. The chasers throw the quaffle.
You can choose which of the 4 house teams
Let's
you'd
see.
like to take through to the Quidditch
Keep
Cup.
this one. Let's not keep it.
Gryffindor,
I like Fizzy Harry. That's a good one. Otherwise, it's just like kind of stretching textures either way. Good night, Silly. Good night, shenanigans.
Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff. Can choose which. Can choose. 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 Can choose.
They're all creepy.
Which of the 4 house teams you'd like
That one doesn't look that bad. He almost like looks like he's wearing armor. He has like little arm pads.
Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, or Slytherin.
He's royal.
Can choose which of the. Can choose which of the 4. Can choose. Can choose. Can choose. Can choose. Can choose. Can choose. Can choose.
I'm happy with the ones we got. So let's move on. I'm gonna clear out my history. Go from the top. Blast the target. That one will get a camera corruption. That's cool. Let's try to keep that one. If we can. It is very crashy. It might be... It's this one, actually. It's the top one. So... Can we keep that? I'm on the fence about whether we can. There's a tin can audio again as well. Duct tape. There we go. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. It's like an FOV slider. Just turned all the way to max. As high as that FOV will go. Okay, that is all saved. 24 memory rights. 12 memory rights. 6 memory rights. 3. Nearly there. 2. And 1. Okay. We're gonna send that to our stash. We'll call this FOV slider. Yeah. And reroll it. We should be able to adjust how far away from them we are. I hope we get a really close close-up. That's what I'm hoping on. We can get right up in his face and do like a weird face corruption. Kind of like that. Then that would be perfect. And also not upside down. That'd be great. Why are these all upside down? It's either you're right side up and far away, or you're too close and you're upside down. Look at all these rerolls too, man. Going through so many. Well, maybe we'll just stick with like one of these and mix it with. We'll do this one as test. Let's mix it with this with like Wood Harry. No, it puts us away. I don't like that. This is up close for sure. Harry Potter. Ah, adjust this back. Oh, we'll throw it away. We have FOV sliders still, so that one's not a bad one. Yeah, we'll keep that. Alright, continuing along. There we get the nice back corruption again. But something interesting on this one is he kind of looks like pale and ghostly. And I like that a lot, especially for this moment. Here, let me pinpoint the exact moment where you can't really see his face anymore, and then he comes out of the corruption. That right there, I love that. Especially with the pale face, it makes it look even creepier. So let's save that if we can. And it's only really the skin corruption. It's that. It's where he's kind of light blue. And blue, if I were green, I would die. That we need to keep. And then combine it with our previous corruption for this. So we have 25 memory rights. 13. 6. 3. And 2. And 1. And send the stash. And on the stockpile you go. We'll call it I'm Blue. And we're gonna mix it with Motion Sickness. Merge those together. And we achieved our effect that we'd like. And we'll call this... I still like the original name. Oh no, Motion Sickness isn't actually fitting anymore. We'll call it... Sickly... No, we can call it something better. Poltergeist? Maybe Poltergeist. Poltergeist. I gotta be able to spell it, right? Poltergeist. There we go. We're gonna put this towards the top. And
You can choose which of the 4 house teams
let's still keep
you'd like
motion
to take
sickness
through
there.
to the Quidditch Cup.
We'll mix it maybe with something else. Let's gonna reroll I'm blue. We're getting various colors. Let's see if any of these look good with Poltergeist. So, this one's orange. Orange might look good.
Gryffindor, Ravenclaw.
Let's try that one.
Can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like.
I gotta mix them like this.
Can choose which of the 4 house. Can choose. Can choose which of the 4 house teams.
No, not too happy with that.
Can choose which of the 4 house. Can choose which. Can choose which of the. Can choose. Can choose which. Can choose
This bright.
which of the
Ooh,
4 house
that one's not a bad
teams
one.
you'd like to take
That
through
one's
the
silhouette.
Quidditch Cup.
We'll call this locked character.
Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, or Slytherin.
I don't want to mix that one with
Choosing a team. Can choose which of the
Poltergeist because that won't really
which of the 4 house teams
create too
you'd like
much
to
of an
take
interesting
through the
effect.
Quidditch Cup.
Eventually, we'll just kind of blacken out the whole screen.
Can choose which. Can choose. Can choose. Can choose. Can choose. Can choose.
And not really any other colors. I do kind of want to use the really bright white one,
Can choose which
but I think the blue kind of looks a little bit better. It looks more ghosty in this kind of context.
4 house teams you'd like to take through to
That
the
was just kind of a cool coloration in general.
Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, or
But then we'll just have too many kind of superfluous items on the stockpile that I don't really want to aim for, so let's clear our history out and start from the top. Ooh. Kind of a bad crash there. Am I? What's going on there? Stuck? No. Looks like the window is stuck there. Oh, okay. I was like, wait, has the dolphin emulator not been capturing this entire time? No, it's alright. Why is so up close and personal, Harry? This one I'm gonna send to Wasabi specifically. He's gonna like that one. Okay. Can we save? Well, we can't save it if I clear out the history, which I just did. What's going on with Wasabi Tonic? I got some corruptions to show you when you're free, if you have a moment, because we've had a couple good ones so far. I've been pretty happy with the results, and it's on Quidditch Tournament of all games. I used to love this game when I was a kid. I didn't expect it would corrupt too well either. Before the stream, I was gonna say, you know, it's probably only be 30 minutes. I didn't get that many good results. Just gotta keep trying at it. Oh, this one. Look at this one. Oh, wait, if we can get it right. Look at that. He has shades on. Harry's too cool for school. Let me give a shout out to Wasabi Tonic. I mentioned him a couple times during the stream before, but be sure to check him out. He does a lot of 1 hour 1 life, which we had a fan in chat earlier interested in your 1 hour 1 life, so check him out. Ellen Porter. Ellen Porter. I was thinking of like Neo or something like that, but Ellen, that works too. What's going on, Popo? Good to see ya. Good to see ya, as always. We've got some good corruptions so far. I don't know if you guys have been hanging out, but let's go through from the top. We got some horrifying ones. That's probably how I should have phrased myself. Some nightmare feel ones, if you will. Where, like, here's the Poltergeist, where he's just going through the motions. And look at his fingers, off, like, right there. It's just terrible. We got some nice, like, audio corruptions. This one sounds like you're, like, ripping up duct tape off, like, a surface. What else we got? Colorful stands, some pretty colors, if you like that kind of thing. I'm using my hands a lot, but I'm going off-screen like this. Harry has the shakes, where he's just freaking out a little bit. He had a little bit too much polyjuice, and he kind of got an addiction. Cape Freak Out, which is one we have to combine with something else. Whereas Cape's just losing it in the background. Just too much wind. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which I'm so happy we were able to get this one. It crashed in such an odd way, but it looks kind of neat. I like the effect. It's very, tie-dye-esque. Wasabi, you might like RuneScape 3.5, where Shenanigans said this kind of looks like a RuneScape character, which I would agree with. I thought it kind of looked like a puppet, but whatever. Either way you look at it, it's still kind of scary. It looks like he has like a seam up his face, so you gotta like sew them together. And wood too, if we skip forward. Wood too.
No.
No, he looks like a snake. We got Aesthetic World where the sky is this kind of like neat 70s, 80s kind of aesthetic. There's a name for what that looks like, and I can't think of the name. It's like that design that they had. Yeah. We got Harry Potter, which is just another one of those good old knockoffs. I'm only seeing the same scene unchanged, but I'm on drugs. Yeah, what are you talking about? It's all just the same game. I don't see any difference at all. That's good for that Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Like, it looks just like Harry Potter. That's how I remember it from my childhood. We got... Wall Corruption was a small one. Already mixed this one, we can remove that. Same with Wood Harry. This one's like a resolution texture. We thought he kind of looks like Wood, and I'm in agreement with that. Which is even funnier, because his captain is named Wood. Double Wood. Double Wood.
Right.
He also looks horrifying. Ground I'm gonna remove, that was just a small one. We got Fizzy Harry. Just a little bit of fizzy carbonated Harry Potter. FOV slider. So I wanted to get this one to work, and I was having trouble with it, where I just wanted a really good close-up of Harry that wasn't upside down. Every time I tried re-rolling this, I always got it upside down for some reason. Unless we're far away, in which case it's right side up. No clue why that is. Can't get my close-up though. I want that, but the other way. I imagine if I turn my head, it'll work. We got... I'm blue, so we mixed this one with Poltergeist already, so we got that one good to go. Same with orange. That's good to go. And we got locked character. Because he's still locked, you haven't unlocked him yet, you gotta play a little bit more Harry Potter before you can unlock Harry Potter. Anyways, that was our corruption stockpile so far, and what time is it? We can do this for about 20 more minutes, and we have to call it. We're coming up to the call-in point. But this has been good so far. I like the corruptions we've got for this. And I think we've... What did corrupt last? We haven't had the best corruption week, so this is a good one to see. I forgot what I corrupted last. Also, whoa! What is his eyes there? Let's go back to that. There's his face again. I love this face keeps popping up throughout the stream. It will just pop up for like half a second and then disappear, and we can't keep it. As soon as I click on the screen will go black. I'll try it right now. Goes black, disappears out of existence, and we can't save it. And I'm trying so hard to change or to save that corruption, but I can't. It's not going black on screen? Oh no. It's okay on stream, it just goes black for me for some reason. Anyway, he's giving me the thumbs up. Also, sorry for the awful audio. Awful audio. There's more of the stand attendance. They want a really up close and personal shot with Harry. Them and all their 12 pixels. Oof. Oh, I did something bad. Shouldn't have done that. There's a new button in the Windows Glitch Harvester that I just found out about. We're gonna save our stockpile before I do something bad again. We're gonna call this Harry Potter Q stockpile. So if you right-click the blast target button, you can run it a number of times, and that will also crash the emulator. So don't do that. Also, right there, is his head split in half? What's going on there? He's split in half. Harry is being tortured. Is all that's happening. Oh, that one he has no torso. That's kind of cool. Kinda. Sorry about the very monotone voice. You're gonna hear that for a while. There we go. The sound got eaten. Temporarily. His eyes don't even look like they're looking the right way. Alright, that's another screenshot. We're gonna put that at the top left. I like the wood one though. I like seeing wood over there, but we're gonna put that up there. So many crashes. Funny looking crashes too. Ooh, no. Ah. It's much louder for me than it is for you. That's actually why I took one headphone off, because we had so many very loud corruptions for a while. And now I just got used to it being a 1-air.
Can choose which of
Something we haven't done actually all stream is changing our starting address. So we're gonna change our starting address. We're gonna put it. We're gonna put it closer to 0, which could be a little more dangerous. We could crash the emulator, which we just did. So you're gonna hear some broken glass. There it is, super quiet. And we're gonna reload the emulator. Luckily for us, it's super fast, unless you go for a second crash. Where is it? There it is. Okay, I'm gonna change the starting address a little bit further from 0. If we get closer to 0, it's kind of like corrupting all the stuff that the GameCube reads in before it actually reads the game itself. So it's like system functions and stuff like that. You don't want to corrupt that stuff. Because you're just gonna crash the emulator, because like, what is this garbage? What is this? This looks like a really bad Polaroid that gets like burnt onto the screen. That's exactly what this is. Like an overexposed Polaroid. It's very cool looking, I want to keep it. Oh, don't do that, OBS. So you can kind of see my blast editor window got messed up. That happens when OBS captures transparency in a weird place. Let's see. Blast editor window. Also, we got some flashing up there. Let's see it way up top. Okay, fix that. There we go. We got 2 Harrys on the screen. No, I want the burnt-in Harry. That's gonna be hard to achieve, though. I think it's part of a crash. That's it there. It's kind of creepy, too. He, like, melts out of existence. Okay, we got 200 memory rights left, so we're slowly getting there. Okay, we removed the audio bug, so that's not there anymore. There it is. We got 25 memory rights left. We're almost to the end. It's getting a little finicky. I know it's a hybrid corruption. It has at least 2 to 3 memory rights that we have to keep on the blast layer in order to achieve this effect.
Can choose which of the 4 house teams you'd like. Can choose which of the 4.
7.
Can choose which of the 4 house teams. Can choose which of the 4 house teams
I'm gonna start manually just adding in these elements.
4 house teams you'd like to take through to the Quidditch. Can choose which of the 4 house
Cool.
teams.
Down to 3.
Can choose which of
We
the
need that one selected. How about the bottom one? Do we need that?
Can choose which of the 4
Don't.
house teams.
Cool. Got 2 memory rights. I imagine if we disable the top one, it won't work. That's correct. So cool. These 2 memory rights put together create the effect that we're looking for on screen, and we can save that onto our stockpile by calling it. I'm gonna call it Burnt Polaroid. I gotta learn how to spell Polaroid because I can't remember how to spell that. Just how it sounds. Okay, cool. Polaroid. Cool. Got that all saved there. Oh no, I put my stream down. Shoot. Dashboard. There we go. 2 laptops. Okay, now let's reroll that to see if we get different effects out of it. We get Harry in that little corner up there. And like some cool lines falling behind him. It kind of looks, it reminds me of Super Mario Galaxy for some reason, like all the stars falling. Do we want to keep this? No, we're gonna keep moving on. Kind of cool to see a decapitated Harry though. This one he almost looks shell shaded. Almost. I might be using that word wrong. This one Harry's like, why? Why as he touches other Harry's head. Various things being attached to Harry's head. I like this one. I like how there's a player like off on the distance. That's kind of cool. And the entire scene burns up. That's cool too. What a weird effect. Like I can imagine like a glowing sun, like a light source, slowly blurring the screen or just becoming too bright. But this one's not even that. It's not even a light source. It's like, I don't even know. Glow effects that are just getting too intense and slowly overcoming the screen. Well, what's really happening is the screen isn't being updated, as we already know, like with Poltergeist.
Which of the four house teams can choose which of
The screen isn't being updated with like a black screen every iteration step, so everything that's being drawn on the screen is just being drawn over and over again on top of itself with transparency and all. And that's what we're seeing here, but for some reason the glow effect expands outward, which is odd. Not sure what that is, but cool nonetheless. From the top, we're gonna blast target. What? What is this big gray object that's right here? What is that? I can't tell what that is. Also, I like that one. Just, Jesus. That looks like, I don't know, The Shining or something. Here's Harry. Oh, that was a scary one. We kind of saw something like that before. They're gonna move on from that one. Just another, like, Harry Potter. Lots of horrifying corruptions. We had some eyebrow messing up. There's this. And the crowd goes wild. With their 2 animation loop. The audio here reminds me of one of those like simulated voice boxes, where if your vocal cords are damaged or something like that, you have to use one of those to amplify your vocal cords. That's what that reminds me of. That'd be kind of a cool spell. Amplify your vocal cords with a wand or something like that. So I'm not seeing anything else I wanna... Ooh, that was a cool one. Kinda like that. That's like a midnight run. It's just a combination of the silhouette expression that we already have, silhouette corruption, and the colored stands, so I'm not gonna keep it, but it looks very nice. Like it's looks like a completely different game. I would guess Star Wars. Minus the obvious broomstick. But I think we're getting ready to draw it to a close. There's still a lot here, and there's still a very, very big amount that we could corrupt. We can also change around our starting address. Let's get a good one of these to leave off on. How about... let's get 3.5. And maybe we'll do it again in the future. I might not do this specific scene, but as we've seen already with the title screen, is we can combine corruptions that we've already created and apply them to new cutscenes or new moments within the game. So we might be able to actually corrupt gameplay mechanics itself later on once we get to that point. So I'll leave this as a maybe. Maybe we'll come back to it. Maybe we'll corrupt it again. But I'm pretty happy with the stockpile we got so far tonight. We have a good number of items. I'm not going to spend some time combining them at the moment. I'm going to leave that for the end of the month or something like that. I haven't decided how to do my GameCube stockpiles yet. Slowly that list is growing because we've done so many GameCube games for this past week or so. But yeah, I think that about wraps things up for tonight. I think if I'm forgetting anything. Definitely the stockpile is saved. I'm going to save a bunch of times so I don't forget. Let's go ahead and pause things here with the emulation. And we'll go and switch scenes. Oh, it's going to force crash itself. Oh, broken glass? No? There it is. Okay, I gotta force it to stop. The reason why you hear the broken glass is because I have a dolphin auto kill switch. It's great. And thank you, Popo. I appreciate that. Take care, Sparky. Thanks for the stream. Bunch of the same scene, no changes. You keep taking those meds, Popo. And we're gonna go switch scenes here. We're gonna go out with some Starbound music, because that is my default, because I love the Starbound original soundtrack, and I can talk over it without ruining any of the music. Amen to that. True that. Let's do some Europa. Anyways, So we had a couple new people in the chat tonight. What I usually do is I corrupt video games on stream at least every other day. I try to do it every other day. I do need to do some research ahead of time to make sure the game corrupts well, and a couple preliminary things such as check out the memory domains and stuff like that ahead of time. So that's what we'll mostly be doing here. I'm also doing a continuing series with the Oddworld series. My phrasing is great tonight. Anyways, we're working on Munch's Odyssey lately, and we just started, I think, yesterday. So we'll get probably started with that again tomorrow night. I do stream every night, in case anyone's curious. Yeah. Thank you for everyone who was able to stop by. Thank you, Popo and Shenanigans and Wasabi Tonic, Regular Guys Show. All you people are awesome. I appreciate the supports. Have a good night, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, also forgot to mention, we're going to host someone here in about a minute or so, once the music kind of quiets down.